My name's Brittany and I'm turning my Ford Transit into a camper van. In this video I'll be showing you how I made a cabinet for my sink and my fridge. I started by making the base out of 2x3s and you'll notice there's a groove in the van that I had to work around. I decided to incorporate a toe kick in my cabinet, which is completely optional, but this allows you space for your feet if you're standing close to a cabinet. And since this cabinet will be holding my sink, I wanted it to be as ergonomical as possible. For the sides of the cabinet, I'm using 1/2-inch Baltic birch plywood. I made my cabinet to fit my fridge, so it's a little bit taller than your average countertop. The standard height for a countertop is 36 inches. With bar seating, it's 42 inches. And my countertop measures 40 inches, which is perfect for me because I'm tall. I had to cut out space in the back of the cabinet to allow for a groove in the van. This actually worked out perfectly because this is where my fridge will go and it provides ventilation. I've had people ask me why I don't just buy furniture instead of making it. And if you've ever been in a van, you'll notice there's a lot of grooves and curves to work around, so you wouldn't make the best use of your space if you're not custom building. Here I'm using 1x3s to add extra support and adding a divider wall in between the fridge and the sink. I got this mini fridge freezer combo off Amazon for about $150. I decided to go with 110 volt instead of 12 volt because I have an inverter to plug into and it only draws 50 watts, which isn't much considering I have a 5,000 watt inverter. It's pretty spacious and I like that it's upright. I know a lot of people get the cooler style fridge, but I couldn't imagine having to pull everything out just to get to something sitting in the bottom. If you decided to go with a toe kick, don't forget to cut it out on the sides of your cabinet. I'm adding more 1x3s at the top for support and also to have something to attach the countertop to when I put it on. Once I got the base put together, I started cutting out the pieces for the front framing. I decided to create a lip in the bottom of the sink cabinet so that way when I open the door, things don't come flying out because they were sliding around after driving. Once I got my cabinet all put together, I went over the screw holes with wood filler called plastic wood. This takes 24 hours to dry, then you can go ahead and sand your cabinet and get it ready for primer. I decided I wanted the outside of the cabinets to be white and the inside to be wood colored, so I'm going over a layer of primer on the outside and then I'll put polyurethane on the inside. I'm using painter's tape to separate the areas so that I get a nice clean finish. I then put 2 layers of enamel paint on, which is good for cabinets, and then finish the inside with polyurethane. I chose to do my cabinets in Beach House White, which I typically think white's kind of boring, but because it's a small space, I feel like it'll help open up the area. Also, if you don't have the patience to wait for someone to help you move something, you could always use a cooler on wheels. Once I got the cabinet in, I marked a spot for the fridge cord to run through and I cut a hole with the hole saw. I also did this on the power box and filled the hole with a plastic grommet. The cord leads into the power box, which plugs into my inverter. And because the van has a curve towards the middle, I added some shims to the frame so that I would have somewhere to drill the back of the cabinet into. I decided to go with butcher block for my countertop. I like the way it looks and it's easy to work with. You'll want to measure butcher block once the cabinet's installed so that you get it lined up nicely against the wall. If you need to cut a hole for your sink in the butcher block, most sinks come with a template or instructions on how to cut to size. To finish the butcher block, I sanded it and then I put on 2 coats of butcher block oil, which is food grade safe. To attach the countertop, I put a screw in each corner underneath, and I'm using clear silicone underneath the lip of the sink to seal it. To finish up the cabinet, I'm adding hinges for the cabinet door, and I also put a latch on the inside so that the door stays shut while I'm driving. I also put a cute little knob on the outside, which I forgot to film, but you'll see it in the after picture. I won't be doing the plumbing for the sink until later when I do the shower, but if I wanted to use it now, I could just put a bucket underneath it. And that's a wrap on my cute little cabinet. In my next video, I'll be showing you how I made a bench seat which has cupboards underneath of it, and it also converts into a sleeper area for a guest. See you next time!